Yeah, I think that's a great point. You need to know where you're going. If you take a brand here in Utah and you take it into Colorado, you're going to see three times the cost on your operational costs. Just having your lawn cut costs 3 times more, right? And so if you understand scaling into those outside markets, what you're going to see on labor, what you're going to see on operations, and where your distribution's coming from your Cisco's or whoever, how close is that? And are you going to be able to take those proprietary products and then move them over? What does that look like? Think about those things first, and I think you're going to be in a much better position.
Love this, right? And so with that, you heard a little bit in the first panel about the front of the house. And, in this environment, of course, you've got to think about buckling up. And I remember seeing Andrew at a conference 2 years ago, and it was right around kind of mid-2022. And if you think about the last 5-6 years, I think about that 18 to 21 period as grow at all costs, right? Spending was out of control, both on the brand side and tech side. And then zero-based budgeting went in on both sides. And we've been in that period since. And so we've themed this as control your controllables, right? What are the things that you can control in your business? And that's a term I learned from Andrew. And to talk through that topic, I brought 3 of the best operators that are in this space. These are the brands that we want to be when we grow up. And so with that, first and foremost, you've got Clay with the swag. I met him a decade plus ago when he was running marketing for a little brand called Raising Cane's.
Just a little one.
And, now, of course, a massive national success, a lot due to Clay and the foundation he put in. He then joined an emerging brand at a few locations at the time called Velvet Taco. Now they've scaled nationwide and one of the hottest brands in the space. So
Thank
Clay
you.
Dover, CEO of Velvet Taco.
Thank you.
Next up, we've got Wade Allen, who is the president of Costa Vida. I met Wade when he was heading up digital for Brinker. So Chili's, yes, that brand. And, he oversaw digital IT for many years and really set the foundation for what you're seeing now with their success. And so Wade joined a couple of years ago here at Costa Vida, local brand, and is running the entire brand and one of the best leaders in our space.
Thanks, man. Good to be here.
And then last but not least, you got Josh Boshard, Chief Operating Officer at Savory. He makes all the things happen. He's got a dozen brands, of course, in the portfolio. I met Josh a decade ago prior to them joining Savory as a franchisee of 4 Foods. And it's been really amazing to see Josh and his stewardship over these brands and some of the best hair in this space, by the way. Look at that.
The amazing hair.
I get jealous every time I see him.
Amazing hair.
So with that, let's hit it. I mean, we talked a little bit on the first panel, Clay, about growth. And a couple of you guys were on the marketing side. Let's talk about now saving. And as you joined the brand, Clay, one of the things that you did was I think, reshuffle your point of sale. But talk to us about what you've learned there and some of that experience.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the epicenter, I'm not a tech guy, FYI, newsflash, so bear with me. But we had to make decisions as we grew. So I joined Velvet Taco at 4 restaurants in 2017. Today, we've got 52 restaurants. And during the pandemic, we made the decision at 13 restaurants to go from a legacy point of sale to switch over to Toast. It was actually during the pandemic that we made the decision. And for me, it was all about just being able to scale. So when you think about growth and scaling your business, I just want to be able to have my data. I want to be able to build a brand to scale. I knew at the time when I took over at 4 restaurants that I wanted to have, my goal was 40 restaurants for the private equity group at the time. And then ultimately 100, and now it's 200. And, we always have a goal to grow. And so I wanted to be able to replicate. And so my advice to anyone who's building out their point of sale is to scale. And for us, it was Toast. It was building a platform that you can just layer things on. So everything that we've got, we can scale, whether it's reporting, whether it's daily reports, whether it's Loop AI, they're just able to layer on things and plug right into it. If you build customizable things, it can get expensive. And at the time, I didn't have a big IT system, a big group. I still don't. We had a few people. So to me, it's all about replication, being able to scale. And for me, I want all my data and I want to be able to access it as quickly as possible and keeping it all in one place. And so that's the way that I looked at it, is how can I scale? And actually, during the pandemic, which was scary, we added KDS on top of it. We put in Toast KDS system kind of halfway through it because I'm like, well, let's just go all in. And so, that's how I looked at it.
Well, Clay, it's not, I've heard, point of sale switchover, kind of like open heart surgery for the restaurant, right? It's not something you want to take lightly. Like, what's the type of thing that an operator should think about if they make that switch, some of the considerations?
Yeah, I think that if you don't have someone that's a specialist or someone, look, we run restaurants. I serve tacos, margaritas. I'm not a tech guy. I'm lucky to be among you guys and to see some of the people up here. Larry. I'm an old chili head too. I get a little goosebumpy. I met Larry a few times. You got the founder of Chili's here. That's amazing. Wade. We got people in this room that are legends. That's awesome. I'm not a tech guy. I run restaurants. You want someone that this is what they do. You want subject matter experts. And if you can't put them on your team, bring someone in. Talk to JG. Sorry, man. JG. He's JG. Just like an initial, like Madonna. JG. Talk to someone. Bring in a subject matter expert. Bring in someone that this is what they do. Don't try to band-aid it. Don't try to be like, hey, I'm going to do this. And I got a cousin that did this. Bring in a subject matter expert. Let the people who run restaurants take care of guests. I just want to make sure that my guests never see kind of what's going on underneath. I think behind the counter with all the cables and where things are going. No matter what, it should be seamless to the guests. And so just take care of the guests and let's just figure out how to run restaurants and how to take care of guests. Bring in subject matter experts. If you've got to bring in a consultant, bring in a consultant. If you can hire someone, great, bring in an IT person. I think we had one IT person by the time we were 13 or 14 restaurants. We actually hired a Toast person that used to work at Toast that oversaw it, but we brought in whatever we needed. It's worth the investment, I promise you, in the long run.
Well, it sounds like they've been a critical, partner for you to help scale to your location count. And it's, again, not an easy undertaking. So bringing in an expert to do some of that for sure.
Clay, I think it's so interesting that you're talking about this. We transitioned 4 brands last year from legacy POS to Toast. And what you're talking about, the most important piece there is making sure that your menu mapping is set up the correct way. Make sure that it's working with online ordering, first party, third party. There are companies out there, third party companies that will come in and do that with Toast. But what you're talking about, ex-Toast guys are amazing at making that happen as well. When I look at that, that transition from a legacy POS, I think it holds a lot of restaurant owners hostage. Yep. And when they feel that their data is in one system and they need to be on this next level of tech, they don't know what to do. And I think that there are options for you because the most important thing for you is pulling in your historical sales so that you know about your future sales. Yeah. And if we're going down this road of AI, Snowflake, putting all of your data in a data lake, making that transition off of legacy POS onto this new POS, that's the key. And you'll stop being held hostage to your current provider.
Don't be scared.
Yeah, it's not being afraid. The modernized tech stack now, I think people get really nervous, well, it's open heart surgery. The truth is, you're going to have to go to a modernized tech stack at some point. Just make the decision, have the right people on staff. If you don't, make sure you can reach out to somebody and make it, just plow through it. I think too many people allow a bad vendor or a bad solution to keep them hostage from really attaining what they can.
think that's right.
I think that's easy to say when you have like 10 IT guys.
Sure, we have more than that, but yes, I totally agree.
Well, wait, talk to us about, now you're a couple of years at Costa Vida. You're one of the only kind of IT marketing leads that have jumped into that position in our industry. Give us an update on the brand first.
Yeah, kind of crazy going from IT, right, and digital marketing to leading a brand. But I love Costa. If you don't know actually, how many are Utah native? Raise your hand and know Costa Vida. All right, that's actually pretty good. All right, so Costa, I knew Costa before I left to go to graduate school back in 2002 or 2001. And I fell in love, probably 2002, 2003 is when I kind of first ran into it, loved it, fell in love with it. So it's been a phenomenal opportunity to come back to this brand, come back to the slopes of Utah, and that I get to ski quite often now that I'm back home. And it's been super fun. It's different, right? Being now really focused on operations. I got to get my head around the importance of hospitality and the focus on providing this operational excellence. Tech is not the solution to everything. And that's been a maturity curve that I've gone through now, kind of making this transition.
Super helpful. I mean, talk to us about, think about inside the four walls of your restaurant, the theme being control your controllables. What are you doing for Costa Vida?
Well, there's a lot of things inside of our restaurants. The one thing I will have been thinking a lot about is this industry's bananas. It's just crazy. I mean, people drive in. We had a car drive through one of our dining rooms, right? We've had fights in the dining room, not necessarily Costa Vida, but when I was with Chili's. Like, there's just crazy stuff that happens. And so when I think about controlling my controllables and some of the stuff that's just kind of bananas in the industry, one of the things that's always top of mind is computer vision and understanding, not only from a security standpoint, but how do we get better operationally and how do we control the things that just kind of pop on the radar that create disruption? And so for me right now, there's a heavy lean into, hey, what does the industry need in order to make sure that we provide an optimal experience? And can computer AI or computer vision actually assist in that approach? And that's been top of mind for probably the last 6 months to a year in our restaurants.
I mean, practically, how are you using it? Curious of any insights or examples.
Yeah, so we have a provider, and we use Savvy, but initially it was security stuff, right? It was just trying to say what's going on. But one of the interesting parts about the tech we use is it can see, or it knows, audio and visual, right? It knows if I can put a Toast ID from the POS, link them to the system, and they'll link on the ID. I can see a minute before and a minute after the transaction and what occurred. So here's a real life example. We have a metric called Guests with a Problem, and it is primarily driven by missing and incorrect items in a drive-through or to-go world. So my teams are very focused on missing and incorrect items. My head of franchise came to me and he said, hey, we had a little incident in a restaurant where an argument broke out where, I gave you the right item. The guest is saying, no, I didn't get the right item. And there's this debate going back and forth. They're like, well, let's go to the tape. Let's pull the camera and take a look. Which, by the way, you never want to do that. That's a bad idea. So they did, and I actually don't know if they got the item right or got the item wrong, but they got the general manager arguing with the guest on camera and with the whole event, right? So you go, hey, this is an opportunity maybe to run some game film. Come back, let's look at the film. Do you think it was the best idea to argue with the guest about whether you gave them the right item or not? Probably not. Let's just take care of them and move them on. But I start to think about, can we do game filming scenarios like you would if you were on a football field or on a basketball court? Pull them in. Hey, we missed this. What happened? Look, we can course correct this through kind of operational excellence and showing them that there's a better way.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm hearing from you is like from the computer side, vision side, it's allowing you to kind of get better at operations, find leakage maybe even in your business. I mean, Josh, anything there? I know this is a passionate subject for you as well.
Yeah, it really is. There's an old business adage that says you can do 2 of the 3 really well, but not all 3. Speed, quality, and price. And so it's interesting you're talking about Savvy. As we went down that road with Savvy, we were early adopters, and we were working with the C-level team, building out the tech. And I think that was really beneficial for us to see how that worked in our restaurants. And so, access control, alarm, and camera systems all in one. And that was really good for us as we were scaling brands. What we didn't realize is we were putting in infrastructure with the camera system that we would be able to use in the future. And as we started down that road, working with that team at Savvy, we started to realize that we are nailing quality. We had quality product. We could understand what was going on in our restaurants. The camera systems were good, and the price was right. It allowed for us to scale and grow. We were missing speed. So we went back to Savvy and we started talking with Brock, the CEO, and said, okay, how do we figure out speed of service, our line throughput, watching people come in, how we address those people in line, and then how we understand our drive-through. So if you think of like legacy drive-through, you buy this $3,500 system, you put in a loop in your drive-through, and it tells you nothing, and you just wasted your money. So we started using cameras in the drive-through to time at the menu board and time at the window. And we started to get to the point where we could understand every 60 seconds we were pushing cars through using the legacy or using the system that we already had in place. And I think that's the future of what we're trying to accomplish. Now we're going to be able to use all of those cameras and layer on LLM, layer on data, layer on agentic code to help us become better operators. And I'm really excited about the right infrastructure for the future.
But so this is an important point. My understanding too is that you're not going to have to upgrade those old version of cameras because the software behind it is actually what's going to keep on top of it, right?
Yeah, that's right. You're putting it in one time and then you're using it for the future.
I think also, I'll add on to that too. So we've gone through a couple of transactions. We're private equity owned. And when we started with Four, I've had to back into some of this. So I've been the CEO now for 8.5 years. And we've had to back into some of this. So my advice to anyone who's 2 to 20, figure out what you want to do now and scale. Like my word is scale. Scale, scale, scale. Because you will get credit early on. If you've got 3, 4, 5 restaurants and you have these things in place, you can make the case and get a multiple for evaluation of your business when you go out and you say, we've put this technology in and maybe it costs $10,000, $20,000, whatever that investment is ahead of time, but you show the valuation going forward and it's accretive, it grows. Whereas I've gone back in and somewhere along the line, I decided, may or may not have been the smartest thing, like we're going to do drive-through. And we started by posting up menus. Then we're like, wow, maybe we should be timing this. And like we backed into things and I didn't get the value that I could have if I had figured it out ahead of time. And in some cases, the technology wasn't there. Some cases, we didn't figure it out. But now I'm retrofitting things and I don't get the value, where if you do it on the front end, you get that value. And to your point, the technology now is at a point where it's not like, okay, I got to rip everything out and then I can put it, it's the software behind it. It's getting smarter and smarter. And you heard it here before. AI is making it smarter. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when I had this genius idea, hey, let's try drive-through in Velvet Taco because we didn't have it before. It was just like, hey, let's put up a board and let's try this. We didn't have the AI capacity. You have it now. So think through it. Get with a partner. Get with someone who's doing it. Talk to the Savory guys. Talk to whoever it is. This is the beauty of our industry. Any of us up here, anyone in this room will give you insights. I'll tell you all the things not to do. I'll tell you the things that we did right. We'll share. It's a sharing community. That's the beauty of this event. We share with each other here's the things that we do wrong. Here's the things that we did right. And we can all learn from each other, and it's great.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, one more topic before Q&A, but we talked about point of sale. We talked about video. Josh, you come from the insurance background. That's another area that there's a ton of savings. Can you talk to us about traditional brokers and what you're seeing not working?
Yeah. Well, if you look backwards, insurance wouldn't ever be included in tech, right? It was go to your broker, they go to the carrier, they try to tell your story. What's really interesting right now is how many people are coming to me saying, I'm a franchisee, I have 5 units, I'm growing to 10. Or I have 2 units and I'm trying to grow my brand. What do I do for insurance? And in the past, I was not able to give anything. I would say, call State Farm or call whoever, right? Someone local. But what was missing was the element of tech. And insurance is more than a cost center. It's feedback with a price tag. So how do you take that and then utilize that insurance information to become better? Well, tech is here. Tech is here today in insurance. We've been recommending this really interesting company called With Coverage, and franchisees are now being able to use that tech in a way that then helps them for the future. They can understand what the renewal is. They have everything at their fingertips. It's an interesting space to be in. If I was a franchisee today, I'd be going knocking on the door saying, what can you guys do for me? And finally, there's a solution out there that has everything in front of you.
I would love to hear how kind of tech has enabled insurance. And, most of us in the room are probably using a cousin or friend that has insurance. And, it's a way to keep them honest, right? You RFP that relationship for quotes and time. Like, how are you thinking of that?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of an old school way of doing it. Now, if you can use technology to go cut out that broker and go directly to the carrier and then tell your story, as a growing brand, there's nothing better of being in control of what's happening in insurance. And as an operator, you know better than anyone what really needs to change, and getting feedback to then make those changes so that you can lower your premiums and be better on that renewal.
Love it. All right. Well, we've covered a few things. Let's hit some Q&A.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to join you here on this comfy couch because the people have some burning questions. All right. They have some things they want you three to tell them. All right. Question number 1. How are you taking the challenge of marketing attribution across multiple channels so you can clearly measure return? So this challenge, how do you attribute marketing across all these challenges? What thoughts do you have?
How are we? The question is, how are we using what? Attributing marketing?
Yeah, how do you attribute marketing across multiple channels? How are you figuring that out?
That is getting harder and harder every day. I think that across all of the channels, you have to look at where you're getting your biggest bang for your buck. So gone are the days of traditional marketing. I think that you have to look at a control group. So the way that we look at it is we have a pre-post net of control, PNOC. You look at where you were getting it before, where you're investing your dollars, and where you're getting your return. At the end of the day, yes, there is brand value in growing your brand, but at the same time, look, we're all operators. You have to get a return on that. You have to see the value of sales. And so when we invest X amount of dollars in a market, you have to see a return on the sales. And so it has to not just get top line, but it has to go all the way through the bottom. So we get our CFOs involved. We have a whole worksheet in which we go through and we say, if we're going to spend X dollars, it's generally a 3-to-1 investment ratio. If I spend $10,000, I need $30,000 return on sales because we're going to run a 30%, return on that. And that's how we look at it.
That's the math equation.
It's a math. It's a math equation.
It's math. Let's move to this next one. This just came in while I was sitting here. Is voice AI ready for the drive-through or just phones?
I actually think it's ready for drive-through. I mean, it's still a little early, but I do think it's coming in a big way. And I think a lot of tech partners see this as such fertile ground. I mean, you think about our culture. We are a car culture in the United States. That's what we do, right? We go everywhere. We drive everywhere. We're not walking a lot of places. The dining room traffic, I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I've actually seen a little bit of a flatness in my dining room traffic. My external channels are actually lifting and offsetting that. So It's coming. If it isn't perfect, they're going to get it figured out here in like short order. And we know how the tech cycle works. We're not talking 2 years. We're talking 6 months. We're talking, months, not years on that transition. But I actually do think today it's ready or getting ready for prime time. I'd lean in a big way.
Totally agree. I know everyone saw the Taco Bell headline, and that may be a specific vendor or issue. There's a few dozen providers in the space. I mean, if you run a drive-through brand, should be piloting this, learn, even if it's not totally ready for prime time, try to figure it out. You don't want to learn when it's too late.
I think one thing on this one, just really quickly, when you talk about voice AI at the drive-through, having the same voice every hour, every minute may not be the best choice. Like mix it up a little bit, make it feel more humanistic, right? But I don't know, there's just some things on this that we're learning that, hey, humans like to talk to humans, or humans like to believe that they're talking to humans, but humans also like efficiency. So there's some trade-offs there.
Carlos 9000. Name your AI.
Yeah. From the last panel, I love that. When scaling across markets, which controllables are the hardest to standardize? So you're scaling across market. Which controllables are hardest to standardize? Who wants to take that?
I don't want to take that one.
Okay, he's out. He's out. Who's in?
No, I'll go in. I think it's labor. I mean, my labor costs in Nashville are totally different than Texas. I mean, it's very market dependent. Labor is a huge variable for us. I'm in 8 different states, and yeah, we were just having a conversation. Nashville, great market. It's my highest wage rate market right now. People will get up and leave, management and hourlies, just competition. Lots of, people want to go work at the coolest place. And so they'll pick up and leave. So, in Chicago, another hard labor market. I mean, if you got restaurants in California right now, good luck. Like, I'm not doing that. No.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. You need to know where you're going. If you take a brand here in Utah and you take it into Colorado, you're going to see three times the costs on your operational costs. Just having your lawn cut costs 3 times more, right? And so if you understand scaling into those outside markets, what you're going to see on labor, what you're going to see on operations, and where your distribution's coming from your Cisco's or whoever, how close is that? And are you going to be able to take those proprietary products and then move them over? What does that look like? Think about those things first, and I think you're going to be in a much better position.
Yeah, if you're going 2 to 20, think about where you're going. And if you're asking a franchisee, or if you're like, hey man, I really want to go to fill in the blank. To your point, Denver, the city of Denver, totally different than the suburbs of Denver. Different wage markets, different laws. I mean, there's nuances, and 200 or 300 basis points. So that's 2 or 3% on a P&L, make or break you. You guys know that. We got razor thin margins. You've got to think through those things.
There were a couple more questions, but like we told you earlier, the ones we didn't get to, we'll have these guests answer them. They'll send it out later. So Restaurantology continues on. It's not just today, but it is in the future. We have homework for you guys. So thank you. Let's give this group a round of applause and send them off. Thank you so much. Appreciate all that you shared and all that you taught us.